everyone, blah, blah. Hey, folks, it's the Generational Gap. I'm Robert. That's
And
John.
I'm John.
We're just sitting here shooting the shit and thought you might want to join in shooting a little shit with us. But we don't use guns. We're not affiliated with the NRA in any way.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not.
Speaking of guns and shooting shit, I just read that a fella in Illinois brought down a 51 point buck.
What the fuck?
Like the largest buck in American, recorded American history being brought
Like an
down.
actual deer, not
Fif-
like an elk or
a
something
buck.
weird.
No, it was a buck. It was a deer. 51 point.
Do we have a
That
picture
that's
of
a
the thing?
lot. I could probably find one if I really felt inclined to. I mean,
Well, I
you
mean,
know,
you can't just like bring something like that up and not show it. I mean, that's
obviously I just
incredible.
did.
Well, no, you really can't. I'm
I
gonna have
just
you
did.
deplatformed for
Oh, now see, now you're just trying to
that.
give teasers for the show.
Yeah. Yeah, you're being a bigot to deer and hunters. So yeah, let's
Shit.
get that
My
up.
biggest thing is having to try and remember how to spell Illinois.
It's Illinois.
Let's see if I can't get a nice, big, pretty image of this up.
Oh yeah,
That was absolutely not lovely.
wasn't it?
Yeah, you're spewing the shit now.
Yeah, I tend to do that.
All right, all right. That's a decent picture right there. Let me see
You know,
if I
is
can't.
this? I wonder if this is new from the chat, from YouTube chat, where it says, welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy and abide by our community guidelines.
It's new if you're new. So there you
That
go.
means,
How does that look to you, John? Let me see if I can't.
yeah, I
That
was gonna
should
say I
be
can't even
that should
see
be
it.
showing. Yeah, but you're not watching the show either. You want me to share my screen because you're such a big gay fan?
I mean, I can put the show up. Holy fuck, that thing is crazy.
Yeah. So he's got himself a nice little rack going on there. It's it's always I have always found it kind of interesting how they attribute points on it. So even these little nubbies count as a point, right? So.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
But look, he's an older fella too. Look at the age on this at the base of those things. That's a hell of a
Yeah,
buck. He said he was just hanging out and he was just getting ready to hunt and everything, and this thing just kind of walked into the picture, just
just
pretty
kind
as
of
you
showed up,
please.
right? Like it was nothing. That's
And,
crazy.
and then
I saw
suddenly there he is, just a big pretty buck.
that. Yeah, good on him. Holy
Yeah,
shit. Yeah,
that's
I'm just trying to send out some links here.
I was uh, I was
Get to
kind
it
of
real quick.
thinking that thing would have had to have been huge, had a big ass rack, but that rack doesn't look very big for 51 points, does it? I mean,
Yeah, it's just like a lot of points. But
right?
still, I mean that's fucking impressive. Holy crap.
That buck was trying to trim him back, get more of a bushy look, is what he was going for. If you prune him right.
Right.
But yeah, so that fella gets to have
Yeah, you get
the
some record for at least a
the
while.
notoriety. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
apparently,
that's
looking at that, it's like I can't be there's got to be more out there. It's just got to be more.
yeah. I mean that can't be the biggest one like of all time ever for anything ever.
Well, I mean, in existence, but that's been brought down and recorded. Well, that's what
Yeah.
the hunting association is saying. That from recorded history, that could be the biggest one that they know of. But so there you go, Illinois. There's your claim to fame. You got some big ass
Illinois.
bucks.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So how's life been with
Holy
you,
shit.
John? How's your shit been?
Uh, you know, um, I'm actually in the process of planning a trip to Mexico. I haven't told you this yet. Yeah, so we're gonna have to start a GoFundMe so I can have a ransom fund, just in case shit goes down.
I'm just as long as you take your fucking green card with you, you should be able to get back in.
I'm not talking about getting back in.
You're
That'll be
talking in
fun.
case you get too fucking drunk at the donkey show.
In case I get kidnapped by the
What are you
cartels,
gonna go to Mexico for? Where? Well, first, where in Mexico?
Guanajuato.
Is that doesn't sound like a tourist trap?
It is a little bit, but it's not like the same as
Like a
Tijuana
Cancun or
or
Tijuana?
Cancun, right? It's not like those or Acapulco, some shit like that.
Wait a minute. Is there a swinger resort there? Is that
I
what you're
don't.
going for?
No, I
You
don't think
going
so.
with
At
your
least.
girl?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. I wouldn't go without her. She wants to
Yes,
go
you
stuff
would.
where
Yes,
no, I
you would.
wouldn't. No, I
You
would
just
never
won't
go to
admit to it
Mexico
on live television, on live YouTube, right?
live television.
On a live stream. So
No,
why Mexico?
that she wants to go see her grandmother, and she wants to see her grandfather's grave that's out there.
Morbid.
So they live. Yeah, that's a pretty morbid place from what I've heard, though. They're into all that. They've got the whole what is it, Dia de los Muertos or some shit like that, the Day of the Dead.
Well, that's kind
Like
of all
dead
Mexico
people
has
Christmas.
that.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It's a pretty morbid place. And I know I probably just fucked up that, pronunciation. Got like the whitest
Yeah,
Spanish
you
accent.
probably could have just said Day of the Dead and people would have been happier.
Yeah, but I wanted to show off,
Is that what you call that?
It's an attempt to at least.
I don't even speak Spanish and that sounded fucked up.
What, Dia de los Muerta? Yeah, I guess I did fuck it up. God damn it.
Yeah, it sounds like you're trying to order the wrong fucking thing in a Mexican restaurant.
See, that's why you can't go alone.
Wait,
And she
she's
was also
Mexican
saying,
or she's
yeah,
mixed, right?
no, she's straight up Mexican. Like, she's got Aztec blood and shit. Yeah. She's got that warrior spirit. You know how that goes.
Well, how's she gonna get back?
Oh, I don't know. I'm probably just going to leave it there.
There's probably some tunnels built you guys could make your way through. I know there's some new ones being built.
Yeah, probably. And there's
Doug.
no wall yet.
I well, we
So.
won't call it built. We'll say Doug.
Yeah, there's
They're
no
probably.
wall yet. So, we're all good on that front.
Oh, there's gonna be a wall.
Well, yeah, but not by the time we get back. It'll be fine.
He said he's gonna have the military build it if he can't get the government to do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could probably get the Army Corps of Engineers. They're pretty good at building stuff.
And that's what he was saying. If he can't get the money from Pelosi and all that group, I'm like, whatever.
Congress.
Yeah, Congress.
Congress.
He
They
threatened.
call, they
He's.
call a group of baboons at Congress, right? Just thought that was funny.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's what a group of baboons is called.
Which came first, the Congress or the baboons? Or the Congress of baboons?
Um, I don't know. I think they arrived around the same time,
Well, I think baboons have been around longer.
but not a Congress of baboons.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Ancient Greeks, they had senates, but they didn't have a Congress.
Yeah, I believe that's true.
Were we like the first country that had a Congress?
Not 100%
If
sure.
only we knew somebody that knew anything about history.
I do know that history began on July 4th, 1776. Everything that happened before that was a mistake. To quote Ron Swanson.
Ron Swanson.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite lines from him. It's fucking hilarious.
So suck that, Christopher Columbus,
Mm-hmm.
and your syphilis-carrying shipmates.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they were all syphilitic back then.
Well, it was the trendy thing to do.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of which, New West Auckland Beach, West Auckland in New Zealand, and they the tides, the water started washing sand out, and they found a schooner, a 19th century schooner,
Dude.
fully intact, and were able to pull it, retrieve it from the water fully intact. Cost $1 million to pull this thing up out of the water, and yeah, that thing looks impressive, for its age, having sat underwater for so long. Even still had like an old pair of shoes, some coins, bottles, some old wine caps from the 19th century, all of it.
Yeah.
But they pulled that son of a gun out. So I figure $1 million to pull it out of the water is probably minor compared to the value of something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what's cool is Henry VIII's ship. I believe it was called the Rose, but I'm not 100% on that. I'm not very good at remembering names and stuff. But
What's
they
my
actually
name?
found I don't remember, but they actually found a whole bunch of like intact longbows, like the English longbow, and so they had a bunch of like professional expert archers like look at it, and they learned how to make them, based on what it looked like, and the processes that they already knew. And what's even more interesting is they found like on the skeletons and stuff, they actually found like calcium buildups on the right elbow.
Really?
So their right elbows were much larger than their left and much larger than the standard, an average person's elbow. And it was because of the strength that it took to pull the string back. Like it was insane. So that increased our knowledge of uh, medieval warfare quite a bit at that time. So I thought that was really cool.
Oh yeah.
Oh
That's
yeah.
well, that's kind of like that. What was it that I told you about a while back off air? The little girl that found the sword,
Oh yeah.
unearthed that sword from so long ago. Why am I thinking that was recent too? That was that not in Australia as well? I think somewhere. No,
I thought it was. You were saying it was in Scandinavia somewhere.
Scandinavia. Yes, it was
Yeah,
a Scandinavian. That is correct, John. You have corrected me. I'm impressed with your correcting.
I have. Yeah, I'm pretty good at that sometimes. But yeah, no, that's pretty awesome too. Like it's always good to find, intact uh I guess samples of, old technology so you can better understand, especially how things were made, what they looked like, things like that. Because a lot of what we have are just kind of speculation, kind of extrapolating based on the small pieces that we already have. So it's good to find, fully surviving, intact, specimen. I don't know. I don't know what the word is. I don't know words. I'm just talking while you're doing shit, so there's no dead air.
So, can you see this?
No. You want me to
Remember,
look at the?
remember when you were watching the stream
Oh, there
and
we
all
go.
that stuff?
Yeah, no, I'm doing that now. Okay, cool.
So this is the ship that was being unearthed by as the sand shifted away at Murray Beach. But yeah,
Wow,
153 years old.
that's
That's
awesome.
yeah, that's
Did they
a
have? Did they
that's a
have a picture
find.
of it like dug out? Did they have a picture of it?
I believe that I believe if I go back one.
Scroll down. That's really cool. I'm assuming it would be like a British ship, most likely.
Um, when were they shipping prisoners?
Fucking all the time. Certainly. Oh wait, is that it? The HMS. Wait, go back.
Hold on a second.
Oh my god.
I got bounced from
Yeah,
the
the
one page I had
Orpheus.
because I had. Here we go. Because this one
HMS
there.
Orpheus.
So there it is,
Right.
out of the water.
Yeah, 153 years ago. Maybe they were still shipping prisoners over there, but not sure. I know they were in the early 1800s. Talking about like what, 1860 something. No, this would have been like late 1800s.
This
153.
lumbering march across Kaipara
I
sand
don't know. I
dunes,
can't do
an
math.
unlikely
Let me do
start
math.
of a rescue effort.
I thought maybe it's in the too hard file.
The 17-metre schooner, beached in 1865 during wild gales, was
Wow.
buried and then forgotten. But in May, a massive
That's
storm
pretty
uncovered a
cool.
rare find.
I think it says that we were well ahead of the 8 ball in our shipbuilding technology right then, 1863.
Once thought too
1865.
expensive to retrieve, some wanted to leave the daring to the elements before a lover of old ships
1865,
dumped up $1
I'm not
million.
sure they were still
Well, I
shipping
think the lines are incredible and the
prisoners over there.
workmanship's
It
incredible.
was, the era of the wars with the Maori. Yeah, so it would have been a British ship, most likely. Because they were over there fucking up the Maori in New Zealand. And they were getting fucked up too. Like, they got their asses handed to them quite a bit. Those dudes were crazy.
That's some pretty impressive shit to find, though.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah, it makes me. Of course, the one thing that I want from all that is I just want the Australian accent.
Well, it's New Zealand, though, so it's a different accent. Just saying.
John, it's all the same prisoners.
They were from different eras, you know.
Were they?
Well, yeah, I mean, they sent people over there for like close to 100 years. That would have been over 65 years at least that they were sending people over there. There would have been different generations.
Was New Zealand founded after Australia?
Yeah, because I believe it was founded after, because they were sending prisoners to Australia. They would go to Botany Bay, which was, you know, that was a little landing point that they had, and they just kind of like released them and said, "All right, go have fun." Like, once they left Botany Bay, it was just they were on their own.
Which is a good reference to the Wrath of Khan. I like that.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember the Wrath of Khan? Star Trek?
Yeah, no, I saw it a long time ago. I don't.
The ship that they were prisoner that they were on was the Botany Bay.
Oh, so it's almost like they made a British Empire reference.
Yeah, they kind of tied it into that because, of course, you know, all of Khan's people were prisoners. They
Right.
were sent off into space on the Botany Bay.
Yeah. Were they bound for somewhere, or were they kind of floating freely? I forget, because I know obviously they didn't reach whoever they were going to.
Well, they had put them in cryogenic, and yeah, I think they were
Yeah.
just sending them out. The era of the wars with the Maori. You, Dean Monk. Welcome to the show, Dean Monk. And
up,
there's
man?
Midget hanging out. What's up, Midget?
Yeah, we got a whole party now.
Hey, that's a piece of reference I can't remember. The Botany Bay from the original Star Trek series from the 60s. Were they destined for somewhere, or had they just been sent off out into space? I do know they were in cryogenic sleep because they had to be woken up by the crew of the Enterprise. But I can't
Right.
remember if they were being sent somewhere or not. I know they were left abandoned, as
Yeah.
we know from, you know, the Wrath of Khan. They had been left on CD Alpha 6. No, 5. Wait, 6 or 5. They were supposed to be on 1, but they wound up on
Your credibility is
CD
faltering.
Alpha 5
I don't know if I
was
believe
supposed
you
to
now.
be, and then CD Alpha 6, but it got wiped out, and so they were left, and the planet had become barren because they were supposed to be left on a planet that would sustain them, but it got wiped out by an explode. One of the other planet exploded. It was either 5 or 6 that exploded.
I actually agree.
Hey, Midget, don't knock Star Trek. It's
Even
you
though,
know.
like, yeah, I love Star Trek, but yeah, it's a bit too nerdy even for me.
Hey, you know what? The Wrath of Khan was the best Star Trek. Whew, I almost fucked that up.
Jesus Christ!
The
you're
best Star
terrible.
Trek movie of all.
It was the most tolerable. I
It-
didn't generally like them. Even the Next Generation movies, I didn't really like that much.
I mean, one thing I have to say is they did a good job with the Star Trek movies as far as keeping a good, consistent timeline. And then
Yeah.
when they decided, okay, we don't have any more crew, right? So they come out with, the new Star Trek movies. They did an amazing job of creating an alternative timeline to reinvigorate the franchise and carry it in a whole new direction with the same characters from the original. I was
Yeah.
impressed with that, and they did it logically. Spock,
Yeah, no, it was
Spock
cool.
even appreciated it.
Yeah. He's all dead now, isn't he? Yeah, he is. He's all dead.
What, Leonard Nimoy or Spock?
Yeah. No, Leonard Nimoy. Well, so yeah, in
Did Leonard
Well,
Nimoy die?
yeah, Leonard Nimoy is totally dead.
No.
Yeah, he's definitely dead. Look it up. Faggot. What is Star Trek? What? STD?
STD. Midget, you've got an STD?
Dude, you should probably get that checked out. What are you doing here? God damn. Is that Star Trek Discovery?
Oh,
maybe?
it was COPD in 2015. That's
Discovery,
right.
yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, Star Trek Discovery is garbage.
What is... Oh, yeah. See, it's
the
so...
newest one, I think.
That's one of those that I've relegated into non-memory. I didn't even... Yeah.
Right.
I
It's
think
not
they
even
lost
it's
me.
not in the headcanon.
I stopped watching anything from them after the first couple of episodes of Star Trek Enterprise that had
I tried. I tried
Quantum
so
Leap
hard to
boy
watch.
on it. Wasn't it
I
Quantum
tried
Leap?
so hard. I don't
The
know.
dude from
I-
Quantum Leap?
I tried so hard to watch the first episode and like it, and I couldn't do it. I tried twice to watch the first episode, and I couldn't get more than like 10 minutes in, and I was like, just fuck this, I can't.
I couldn't even really like. I watched quite a few of them, but I couldn't even get that deep into Voyager because and
I
it
didn't
wasn't.
like Voyager either.
It's too loud in Carryman. I can't hear shit, but I'm still in the live. You dig? Nice,
Oh,
nice.
sweet.
Oh, the Carryman is it? Who's Dean Monk? Do we know Dean Monk?
Yeah, that's one of my coworkers.
Oh, gotcha. That's
I'm not
right.
gonna
I
dox
remember
him.
Dean Monk. Yeah.
Yeah.
What does the DN stand for?
I don't know. I was
Curious.
trying to think of something witty, but I didn't. I didn't end up doing that.
But it was Captain Janeway. I couldn't stand her.
Yeah.
She was just. I'm just like. I don't have a problem with a woman in charge, but for God's sake, not her.
Yeah.
She was
Yeah,
just
she was
wait.
kind of a cunt.
Especially when they like tried to give her some sex appeal, and I'm like, no.
Yeah. she
It was almost like
attractive.
it was almost like Deanna Troy. I never liked Deanna Troy.
See, I had a crush on her. I like.
Really?
Yeah,
she
me too.
she just did not appeal to me.
I think it was the hair though, and the skin tight one piece suit that showed off her ass. It was, yeah.
I think for me, not only was it the hair was definitely an issue for me, but also it was the simple fact that her and Riker had their thing, and I'm like, you know what, dude, you're too Harley Davidson where she is way moped.
Yeah, no, they really didn't have any kind of chemistry. Like, there was no real reason why they would have been together. It was just kind of like, oh, the script says to do it, so I guess we'll do it. But there was no like actual chemistry between the characters or anything. It was kind of stupid.
Well, I think part,
There was filler episodes that they would do their thing in. It would all be just filler.
well, I
It was never important to the story.
No, not at all. But I think they tried to give Riker that whole James T. Kirk womanizer
yeah.
appeal because you couldn't really pull that off with Jean-Luc.
But he did though.
Oh, he carried it, but he
he
was.
got bitches.
But he did,
got-
but it was a whole different thing. It wasn't quite James T. Kirk. I'll bang anything green,
Anything that
white,
moves,
orange. Where's that salt monster, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you remember that episode? Did you ever watch much of the original series?
Yeah, I've actually
That's
watched
the
all three
best.
seasons twice, I think, and then I've watched the shit out of Next Generation, which is objectively better than the original series.
I disagree.
Don't at me. Don't at me.
I disagree with that. I do not think the Next Generation carried it because there were too many fail characters in the Next Generation. Deanna
Yeah, but
Troy,
get rid of them.
Wesley Crusher. Oh,
Wesley Crusher
what a
was the
fucking
worst
whiny
thing
little
to ever
bullshit.
happen.
He
No,
was.
no, it's not even the whininess. The worst thing about him was that when he was first introduced, it was like Wesley Crusher saves the day, like every time. When everyone
yeah.
else had no idea what to do, here comes Wesley Crusher with the answer at the last second.
And now all he does.
done it without Wesley Crusher. Like,
And now you wind up seeing him all over the place just trying to save his fucking career.
oh my god, yeah.
And not to mention the fact that his fucking mom was on the ship with him, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
and even she wasn't. It's like,
She
really?
wasn't even a fan of him.
Oh,
Like
God.
my favorite part was the episode where she smacks him. Like that was amazing.
The two main redeeming characters on this Next Generation for me were Jean-Luc Picard, great captain. I
Riker.
got to give him that. No, Data.
Riker.
Data was the shit.
Data was awesome. Yeah,
Data
was
was
awesome.
the shit.
Yeah.
But I will say that I think they did a lot better in their movies than they did in the actual series, in my opinion.
Well, Data certainly did. He had, when he had, was it one of the movies? Yeah, where Lore got his brother, or whatever, got like a whole the emotion chip or whatever,
Right.
and was trying to turn him against like the rest of the crew. It was really cool.
But I will tell you, one of my favorite movies of all time was not a Star Trek movie, but a Star Trek spoof, Galaxy
Oh,
Quest.
yeah, that's right.
Fucking
Yeah.
Galaxy Quest is just fucking amazing.
It is a really funny movie.
It is Sam Rockwell. His part in that as crewman number 6, one of the best roles I've ever seen him in.
He was the red shirt, right?
Yes. Are we doing
Yeah.
episode 81? Are we doing episode 81? Because I died in episode 81.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a decent movie.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that a long time ago when I was a kid.
But I can't remember what is it? What's his name? Chris Pratt. He plays the new Kirk, right? Is that his name? Christopher Pratt in the new Star Wars,
Star Wars.
Star Trek
Right.
movies.
How dare you?
He actually does a pretty damn good job of being Kirk.
Oh, right. Christopher Pine.
Pine. Why am
yeah,
I saying Platt? Who's Platt?
That's
Star Lord.
Pratt. Yeah.
Pratt.
What's his name? God damn it! Now you got me fucked up.
I'm not into Bollywood.
It's not Christopher Pratt, right? But it starts with a C, I believe. Fuck, I can't remember his name.
If only there were a device by which we could.
Yeah, if only we had all of human knowledge at our
Chris
fingertips.
Pine and Chris Pratt. So Chris
It
Pratt
is
is
Chris Pratt, yeah.
Chris Pratt is Star Lord,
Yeah,
and Chris
Yeah, from,
Pine.
Parks and Rec in Jurassic
Yeah.
World.
Chris Pine is your. There's too many Chris's out right now. Chris Pine for Star Trek, Chris Pratt from that, and then there's Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth, yeah.
Is that
that's
Hemsworth's
the,
brother?
Chris Hemsworth is Thor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's Chris Evans,
I don't know who that is.
fucking Captain America.
Yeah, whatever.
You know who Captain America is, right?
Yeah, of course.
He was born in
I've never got into
1776, motherfucker. He's a part of history.
Right. He is a part of history. He's not part of the mistake.
There's too many Chris's out there, and the sad part is, it's difficult because they're all hot.
Yeah.
They are. They're sexy. I have man crushes on almost all of them, but I won't tell you in what order because that would just give too much away.
Well, let's do a fuck, marry, kill then.
Fuck, marry, kill. Okay, so there's 4 of them though, so we got to drop one of them out. So it's got to be. Do we?
I say Evans.
You want to go drop Evans out? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know because I don't know because he would have to go on my 3 over Hemsworth, I think. But I'll take Hemsworth. So Chris Pine, Chris Pratt, and Chris Hemsworth. So
Yeah.
Star Lord, Captain Kirk, or Thor. You go first.
Ooh, all right. I'm gonna have to kill Thor. Because he's gonna be too powerful. I'm not
Then how
into
would you
that.
kill him? Duh.
Well, I mean, this is assuming, obviously, in the hypothetical that we can.
You're not going to get his hammer just because you kill him.
No, I
just
don't want
FYI, you know that, right? Anyway, go
I
ahead.
don't want his hammer. If I wanted his hammer, I would have said fuck. So, so then I think I'm going to, fuck Chris Pratt and marry Chris Pine, because he's got a good steady job, so he's gonna be able to provide income, for me. So
Mhm.
that'll be a good solid marriage. And then Chris Pratt, I think he can make me laugh in the bed, in the bedroom. So that'll be fun.
I would have to kill Chris Pratt because he doesn't have any sex appeal for me, and he's a little too corny in his humor.
Yeah.
I would definitely fuck Chris Pine because those eyes, man. Oh God, they give me chills sometimes. And then I would marry Chris Hemsworth because I just want to hear his voice all the time.
Yeah, fair
because
enough.
he's got a good voice there.
He does have a good voice.
And plus, he's got that fucking hammer. He could do household chores.
Yeah, oh my god, can you imagine him being just hammering nails with Mjolnir?
Why is the foundation cracked? Putting up a wall.
Yeah. Oh my god, I can imagine like hanging wallpaper and shit.
All right, so now here we go. I got one more for you. And now are you into Sherlock Holmes at all?
No.
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 All right.
No, just
You're familiar with Benedict Cumberbatch, though.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got 3 Sherlock Holmes because there's a new Sherlock Holmes movie coming out with Will Ferrell. So we've got Robert Downey Jr., who's played Holmes. We've got now Will Ferrell playing Holmes, and we've got Benedict Cumberbatch, who also played the BBC version of Sherlock Holmes. Mm-hmm. Kill, fuck, marry.
Fuck, marry, kill.
Fuck, marry, kill. However order you want to go with.
Well, let's see. I'm gonna have to kill Will Ferrell.
Agreed.
Yeah.
In fact, even if he hadn't done Sherlock Holmes, he might have to die.
Yeah, we might just have to get rid of him. Then I'm probably gonna fuck. Who was the other one? Benedict Cumberbatch.
Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr. Yeah, I'm marrying the fuck out of him.
Why?
Yeah.
Why marry him?
Oh man. Oh, you know what? You're right. I'm just.
You got to quit moving your mic, bitch.
I can't help it.
You're getting all scratchy.
Yeah, you're right. It's just like it's like a fidget spinner.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like touching it.
So which is it? You would marry him? You marry Downey Jr.?
He's got a lot of money. He's got a lot more money than Cumberbatch would. But the thing is, he's also going to cheat on me. But like at the same time,
you're Tony Stark in him.
No,
See,
that's how Tony Stark is.
Yeah, he was more into drugs than he was screwing around.
Oh, that's cool too, though. So yeah, I might marry him then, just for good access to drugs.
And then fuck Cumberbatch.
And then fuck Cumberbatch, yeah.
I'm with you on Will Ferrell. Definitely a kill. I think I would just fuck Robert Downey Jr. because he's got the prettiness. He's worth a quick fuck, and then the beard. You could close your eyes and imagine just about anything with the beard, much like your face. Right. And then
he's clean. He's clean now, but I'm sure he's still got connection. I mean, this is responding to Midget.
Oh, of course he's clean, but that was his thing more than being a womanizer more than I think maybe he was a womanizer when he was doing drugs somewhat, but I think he's kind of cleaned up every bit of his act now, right? Because he's pretty straight and narrow. But Benedict Cumberbatch, he falls into the marry again. Part of it is the voice, but man, he can carry on a fucking conversation. He's the kind of person you want to have conversations with.
I guess that's fair. I don't know that much about him. So that's why
if you ever get a chance, watch his Sherlock Holmes from that he did in on the BBC. Really good Sherlock Holmes. It's quite impressive, especially from lots of different angles, psychologically speaking. From the whole the addiction standpoint was very impressive the way he played that.
The opium addiction, right? Sherlock Holmes.
I thought it was cocaine or
Sherlock
heroin.
Holmes? I thought it was opium.
Was it opium?
Well, heroin is made from opium.
Yeah.
So I was pretty sure he would just put opium in his pipe because it was like the mid 1800s, right?
Well, he was shooting it. Everything I've seen represented he was using syringes and stuff.
Oh, maybe that's a modern interpretation.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, he always had his pipe, and he would.
I'm trying to remember back to the books by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
Yeah.
how it was being administered.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure because it wasn't at a time where they had, like, hypodermic needles at the ready. So I'm pretty sure he would have just been
Yeah,
smoking.
but he
opium,
was
whoever
he
the
was a
thing at the time.
doctor. He was a fucking doctor.
Mm.
He had
Was
access to
well,
shit like
was
that.
he yeah, but he was a PhD though, not an MD.
I'm pretty sure he was a doctor of medicine.
Maybe. I thought that was Watson was a I don't know. I have no idea. I don't or read Sherlock Holmes. So. I do remember that there used to be this show, an animated series on WB Kids when I was a kid. That was like Sherlock Holmes, but like slightly in the future than it is now. Like it was like I forget what it was called, but it was totally lame.
Yeah, see, nothing explicit to opium, but they were
Was there a
you
reference to anything else, or was it just not mentioned what it was?
and you were reading the Conan Doyle stuff, correct, midget?
Should be Holmes stories. I also want to know why you were reading them. I mean, it's interesting. I just never pegged him as a. Well,
Maybe they were
abridged.
abridged.
No, it could be like that. That could be. But no, I just never pegged you, Midget B, as a Holmes connoisseur. But that's cool though.
So maybe he wasn't a doctor. He was just he was. It doesn't
He's a
even.
private eye.
Well, he started. He started detecting as a being a consulting detective at 20. And then Dr. John Watson was his buddy, of course. Independent student of chemistry with a wide variety of very curious side interests. So it was chemistry that he was mainly versed in, which would lead to, drugs and stuff.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I think the explicit reference to cocaine.
Smoking his
so
pipe.
maybe.
Yeah, see, that's
Maybe
the cocaine.
Okay,
Cocaine.
cocaine.
Cocaina.
That was racist.
Was it?
I don't know. Probably.
See, there you go, trying to
I'm
give
sure an argument
teasers
can
for
be
the
made.
show as well.
I'm sure an argument can be made.
Trying to see if if they actually make a reference. I'm looking at the fandom wiki on Holmes himself. They say he had an ego, but I don't know.
I imagine he would. I imagine he would have.
No,
an
he
ego.
had. Yeah, so there's what cocaine, because he, as a student of chemistry, he believed cocaine would stimulate the brain when it was not in use. So he became a habitual user of cocaine. He would use a 7% solution administered through a personal syringe. That's where. So he would keep.
I don't know
You
where
remember?
I don't know where I got the opium thing. Then. I'm not sure.
It could have been a derivative story that you've seen. I mean, people have
maybe.
done different takes on it and that kind of thing. Holmes is also an occasional user of morphine, but expressed strong disapproval on visiting an opium den.
There you go.
But
So
they were all
the fellas
legal at the
mentioned-
time.
Well, yeah. That didn't come out until like the early 1900s. All these anti-drug laws and stuff.
But Sherlock Holmes, one of the best characters in literature, in my opinion. Amazing. What I always, and I have to give credit to the author there, because, Holmes can't be like this amazing deductive reasoning detective without an author that just has a good mind for that kind of thing. It takes a lot of thinking to have that kind of mind, It was some really deep shit that he would come up with. But I did like the version with Robert Downey Jr. It was kind of impressive because they actually took the time. Have you seen that one?
Which one?
The Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes.
No, I've not seen any Sherlock Holmes outside of the few Star Trek episodes where they were on the holodeck.
Oh,
and they
um,
and they had to like fight Moriarty.
well, in Robert Downey Jr.'s version, what they would do is like when he was about to get into a fight scenario, they would do like a freeze, and he would sit and walk through like he was playing chess every step of
Mm,
the fight and what he was going to do and what the reaction would be. So you
right.
actually got to see how that analytical mind worked in a moment right before he actually went into action, because he was a pretty sophisticated fighter as well,
Of
fisticuffs.
course.
And I thought that was a very interesting take. So he would just be like, okay, so I'll throw the handkerchief up. It'll distract him. I'll go for a punch in the ribs, lessening the air intake, then go with an uppercut, this, that, and the other, and show each
Yeah.
thing in his mind. And then they would fast, and then they would go back to real time. And then he would go through the entire thing that he just walked through in his head that he was going to do. And I was like, that's some impressive shit. It's just kind of fun
That
to
is kind of
watch.
cool. Yeah.
So I recommend it. I actually have the movie if you ever want to borrow it. It's quite the nice little movie there.
Hmm. Maybe I will. I mean, I'm sure I can find it, but I don't know.
No,
I'm not a big fan of movies anymore. I just don't movies. Um, I don't know what it is. I think it's just the quality of movies nowadays. I'm just not a fan.
well,
I
a
mean,
lot of them have become derivative.
oh well, yeah. I think there's only like 12 scripts in Hollywood anyway. You just
Yeah.
have to play Mad Libs with them. You know.
Yeah, I'm really particular about the movies I'll give a movie a chance, but for instance, I just watched a movie and it broke my heart to watch this movie. Um, based on a book that I read when I was a kid called A Wrinkle in Time.
Oh yeah,
Do you remember that book?
yeah.
Well, Disney
I
made a
remember.
movie of it.
Yeah, I think you told me about that a few weeks ago.
Well,
I
Disney
think
made a movie of it, and I finally got to see it a couple of nights ago. And where in the book, A Wrinkle in Time, um, it was more about the brother and sister,
hmm
right?
Yeah,
Well, in this one, being that it was Disney, and you know how Disney has to put their little
yeah, the
spin.
little.
It's thoroughly just leaned toward the sister and her empowerment and her
Right,
growth as a
naturally.
person, and like marginalized the brother, who was very important in the story. Get woke, go
That's,
broke, nig nog.
that's
Are you
true.
familiar with Wrinkle in Time there, Midget? Are you familiar with that at all?
He might
Read the
be.
book?
Seems like the type. Might be.
It was one of those books that was very impactful when I was young,
Yeah.
but this is back in a time when, books mattered. There weren't, you weren't sitting around on your phone or your tablet all the time, sitting around on a computer. There were just you and the words and the pages.
Yeah. So you know what? I have a couple of books to bring up. Um, you're familiar with the movie bombing? Fuck Disney. I agree. Fuck Disney.
Hey, but
Um,
if you get a chance, read the book. It's a
yeah,
whole
the book
different
is
world.
the book is pretty good. But another one that I enjoyed a lot when I was a kid, Ender's Game.
Yeah,
They
I
made a
remember that.
movie of that, and the movie was just the parts that they got right were really good, but it felt like it was just rushed. Like they were rushing through the plot to get to the end of the movie, not to the end of the book, which was like huge. The climax was amazing. The plot twist at the end is awesome, but it felt like the movie was rushing to get to that point. Like they're just like, oh, this other shit doesn't really matter. We're just gonna get to the end, and so that sucked. And then another one that was really big when I was a kid that I liked a lot was Artemis Fowl by Owen Kofer. Have you seen that or read that?
No, I haven't read it. It was a little later in my years because that was
Yeah,
more of one. That's one
that
of
was like
the
early
preteen
2000s.
young adult
Yeah,
novels, right? So
and
yeah.
yeah, it came out like right when I was in that sweet spot, like 11, 12 years old.
Honestly,
And but they're
Harry
making a
Potter's
movie
the
about
only
it.
thing in that vein that I've read that I enjoyed.
But they're actually making a movie, an Artemis Fowl movie, coming out next year. So I'm gonna go see it, but I don't have any kind of. I'm not holding my breath. I don't think it's gonna be a good movie.
Well,
But
I tell you in
this whole series is fucking amazing, and there's like a lot of lore and stuff that goes into it. That's really cool.
I think Peter Jackson had it right when he did the Lord of the Rings trilogy. You know, and you know, kind of like you're talking about with Ender's Game, there was a lot to that book to encompass in a short movie like that, right? So a 3-hour movie probably would have done it justice, but only to the really hardcore fan base, right?
Yeah.
Much like Lord of the Rings, you know, yeah, you need upwards to 3 hours to really do one of those books justice, and you sure as hell couldn't have done that trilogy in one movie. Right?
No,
so you got to carry that
certainly
shit
not.
out into those 3 big major epics.
I mean, and I think it would have been great because especially if they went on Speaker for the Dead, you know, and the sequel novels to Ender's Game, you know, would have been incredible because they're great books. Orson Scott Card is an amazing author.
He is. He's very good.
Yeah.
Well,
I like the there's like the parallel novel too, Ender's Shadow, which is from a different character's perspective, which is really awesome. Like there's so much potential there that just was wasted.
Now I will say that Peter Jackson, when they did The Hobbit, they should have they could have 2 movies was enough. They shouldn't have taken it into 3. But The Hobbit was by far one of the best books I've ever read in my life. It is my favorite book of all time. You know, runs a close second first to Robert Jordan's series that I've mentioned before, The Wheel of Time.
Oh yeah.
Keep your eyes on Amazon. They're finally doing it. You know, they're finally going to put out a full-fledged series of Wheel of Time, and I can tell you, if they do it right, they've got Sony behind them. This could be epic. It could be like one of the best. I hope they don't fuck it up. But since they're doing it as a series, they stand a much better chance of really holding true to the story.
I wouldn't hold your breath, but definitely watch it. I mean,
well, if
definitely
you
give
know,
it a shot.
they did a good fucking job with Game of Thrones. Now I haven't read the books, but from what a lot of people say, Game of Thrones did a very good job of staying relatively true to the books, but if you haven't watched it, man, there are some scenes in there that just give you fucking chills, where it's just like, God damn, that's amazing shit. It's just cool. And there are some very, very epic moments in the Wheel of Time series. Out of 14 books, just some goose-bumping, hair-raising moments that I hope they can do justice on the small screen.
Yeah.
I told you, I put it out there. I put a PDF up there. They've got a version of the Wheel of Time that they've incorporated. They've adapted to 5th edition D&D rules. And let me tell you right now, I know this world like the back of my fucking hand practically. I could run a campaign that is just massive for this thing.
Yeah, I'm down.
So
Open
check out.
world or like a railroad?
No, well, actually, it would run parallel to the storyline, and actually build through the storyline. But the storyline, you know, itself is over the span of, you know, a few years.
Yeah.
You know, but time is different there. You know, like in the Wheel of Time world, I believe a week is like 10 days long, and a month is is how many weeks? I forget how many weeks. No, longer than that. A month could be like, I think it's like 6 weeks potentially, like the equivalent of 2 months for our normal time.
Gotcha.
So it, there's, it could be epic in scope, depending on how it was approached. And I've already been toiling in my head how I'd want to approach it, but I think it could be done well. It could be a fun campaign. It's a whole different take on the magic system in D&D, that would take a little getting used to. And my guess is that as players, most would want to be female characters, simply because those are the real magic users that wield the power. But there are males too, so.
I'm actually not a big fan of like magic in those kind of games.
Well,
I usually try to stick to non-magic users.
Well, understand and that's fine. There are some great. Yeah. There are some like the Aiel. They are a hardened desert race that they thrive on just the rocks and sands of the desert, and they think that is
Yeah.
what makes them who they are, and it's true. And there's some hard son of the bitches. They dance the spears is what they do. They carry three short spears and a buckler, and
Nice.
you get them going, and they are just
Dude, spear and buckler is a good combination. It's a really good combination of reach, attack, and defense.
well, the thing about their spears is they're a short spear, so they're about
Yeah, like a Shaka
2.5 to 3 foot long.
Yeah, like a Shaka Zulu style spear
right.
where they cut it short so you can really get in under someone else's shield. It's fucking
And a
pretty
lot
intense.
of their fighting is using hands and feet. They have they dance the spears literally. Their feet are one of their primary weapons. They can do some amazing shit, and they're the
That's
kind
cool.
of their whole clans, their race is one that is feared by everyone on the other side of the spine of the world, because when they come a calling, you don't want to be anywhere nearby. You just don't, because they
I
don't.
do want to bring up, since we're towards the end of shooting the shit, we got to do that Star Wars campaign that we started a long time ago. I just not wanted to do it because you weren't there. So
With the Pog Jedi.
with a Porg.
The
Jedi?
Porg,
No,
Porg,
that was
Pog.
Midget. Yeah, Midget B was playing as the Porg, so I doubt he'll be able to show up for it. But
I thought about you, Midget, the other day. I was in fucking Walmart, and I was walking through the clearance aisle, and right up there on one of the shelves was a Porg, a little furry Porg
oh my god,
toy that you could take home for your little kitties.
that's the whole point of them. That's why the Porg exists. So Porg plush.
But he did
dolls.
not have a lightsaber, so it wasn't a
No,
full
it wasn't
full
true
midget
to you.
reference.
yeah, he was a Porg Jedi.
Porg Jedi.
Pretty funny.
There's something
Like one of those little,
damaging
it's
in
like
that.
basically like a cheese knife. Lightsaber that he had, like...
Right. It was a flashlight.
Just a flashlight.
It's just a flashlight. It was one of those little cracky glow sticks. Get that in a blade builder on clearance for 50 cents. A blade builder. Guys.
Exactly.
Hey, we're gonna start wrapping up this shooting the shit episode. Just to let everybody know, we're gonna be planning on having our episode 15 coming up at 8:30 tonight. We're gonna be talking about some stuff. You got anything in mind that we're gonna be talking about, John? Anything of relevance, importance? I think we're gonna avoid talking about the Orange Man, which makes me sad. Because Orange Man bad, Orange Man racist, but
Right, of course. No, I think that was something that you just decided. But it's just something that.
I will talk about him. I don't mind. I don't like to offend you because I know you love him. Found a pair of year-old Star Wars shit in a Walmart clearance section. Yeah, I did. That was there. Well, it was the only thing. It was just one lone porg sitting up there, which even reminded me more of you. He looked lonely, sad, and dejected.
Oh damn, that's harsh. Savage.
Well, somebody's got. I got to show the love to somebody, right?
So,
Hey, but we can talk a little bit about the Orange Man. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about him. He's just, I don't know, man. There's a sinking ship going on there. I just find it funny. Maybe I'll work on the lyrics to my song.
Yeah, I think we get it. He's bad. Orange Man racist.
But it's not collusion.
Well, no, there hasn't been any clue. Whatever, we'll talk about
It's
it. on the show.
conspiracy.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. If you can find something that doesn't suck and isn't boring and nonsensical.
But we will be talking about the racist baby. I can't wait. Gotta love
Yeah.
the racist baby.
It was a racist 4-month-old baby that we're going to talk about.
Ah, you blew the
It's just
you
sad.
blew the punchline. You can't tell the age. Not here.
That
That's
doesn't
too
matter.
much of a spoiler.
No, trust me, it's fine. There's plenty to talk about still.
But we got some, we definitely got the racist baby. We got a little deplatforming going on. We might touch on that for quite a while. There's some interesting stuff
Yeah.
going on there, which I find offensive if you ask me. But hey,
Well, you're too white though. You're not allowed to be offended.
hey, and we're also going to discuss the latest person to be Me Too'd. Oh, I can't
Yeah.
wait. That's going to be fun. But anyway,
Yeah.
so what we hope you do is you like what we're talking about and you hit that like button. We hope what you're seeing is enjoyable to you, other than our fucking scary ass faces, and you hit that subscribe button. We're gonna blow out of here and blow up some shit. So, well, we're not gonna blow anything up. I guess I shouldn't say that too
I'm about to
loud.
blow
Not
up a
with that.
toilet.
Not with the recent bomb scares going on. So,
I'm about to blow up a toilet, so that's
John's gonna go blow some shit. That's right. So we're going to be back in about a half hour plus 5 minutes, and we hope we can get y'all tuned in and having a discussion with us. John, you got anything else you'd like to add besides that lovely neck beard and receding hairline?
The neck beard's actually smaller than it was recently.
John,
I shaved it for Thanksgiving.
I only said that so it would give you an opportunity to stroke your fucking chin.
Well, I did.
You can't resist an opportunity, can you?
No,
All right.
it makes me think better.
All right, so we'll check you folks back out in about 30 minutes plus 4, and have yourselves a good time. Peace
All right,
out.
see you guys.